So it is officially. Oh, oops. Oops. We're gonna ignore that. Hello. Hello. So it is officially the first week of February, and I am doing this vlog because I'm going to read Twilight by Stephanie Meyer for the first time, and I thought you guys would want to come along the journey with me. Oh, yeah. Like I said, it's the first time I've read this book. I've never read it. I watched the movie when I was a teenager, and I could not stop laughing at it. And I know that that's bad, but I don't care. I thought it was, I thought it was funny. So yeah, so I'm gonna attempt to read this book for the first time in this vlog on this journey that I'm hopefully going to take with you guys. And then I'm going to try and watch the movie again and see if I can see if I can take it more seriously or if I still find it hilarious. Anyway, I don't need to tell you what this book is about. It's about Bella who moves to a new town and meets Edward and then gets dragged into his world of whatever it is. But yeah, so I'm probably not... I'll probably read the opening bit and I'll come back with you with my initial thoughts. Okay, bye. Okay, and I have finished the first chapter. It didn't take me very long, but my initial thoughts so far. Bella is very whiny and like just sad about everything. And she's really unfair to her dad in that first chapter. Because her dad literally bought her a car and is so excited for her to be with him again. And all she's done is complain and groan. But the first chapter wasn't that long, but it was, yeah, and the intense staring, between Bella and Edward began pretty much halfway through the book, the chapter rather, and yes, at the moment they don't have the relationship at all. And yeah, like I know that eventually it's going to go there because I know the story. But yeah, it was actually a pretty quick read to finish the chapter. It is actually well written. I like Stephanie Meyer's writing. Like the only like badly written thing in the first chapter was Bella herself, but the writing style is actually pretty good. And yeah, so I will give you another update once I have one. Peace. Okay, so I have now read about how many? I'm now on chapter 5 of this book. And my god, do I have a lot to say about what I just read in at least the last 2 chapters. Okay, I know that Bella and Edward had this like really epic love story eventually. But my god, Edward was actually kind of he was kind of a tool in the last 2 chapters that I just read. First of all, you save Bella's life from a car. Then, when you wake up in hospital, you convince her that she was seeing things and was hurt more in the accident than she was, just because you chose to save her life. And then, a chapter later, after you have gaslighted her and convinced her she's crazy in the chapter, you then go on to physically ignore her. No explanation, you just stop talking to her. And you avoid her at every turn. And then you tell her that we can't be... And you tell her that you guys can't be friends or acknowledge each other anymore for her safety. And then you end chapter 4 by saying, I said it would be better if we weren't friends, not that I didn't want to be. And then he goes on to say, it would be more prudent for you to not be my friend, but I'm tired of trying to stay away from you, Bella. Like, why? I get that you have your reasons, but seriously, you need to stop being so back. You need to. I'm just tired of books, like, showing that kind of approach to relationships actually working for relationships. Like, it not only made Bella angry, but in a way it made her want him more. Well, I mean, after the car accident it did. And then she rightfully disliked him after that. But at the end of that chapter, after those lines, she liked him again. Like, the back and forth between the way that these characters act or react to each other. It's like, I can't. And like, I know that it's meant to be this. Like, I'm sure I'll get into the relationship more now that he's actually manned up and said that he wants to be with Bella, or that he likes Bella. But seriously, the back and forth and the gaslighting in that hospital after she asked some very reasonable questions about how you ended up across the parking lot so fast and why you saved her life. Especially when you said that you would give her answers and then just end up gaslighting her instead. Okay, that's all I have to say that's all I have to say in regard to plot in these two in the chapters I just read. In the book so far, the only unrealistic thing that has really happened is that she made friends that quick. Is that she made friends her first day in high school. Like, no one is that friendly. No one is that friendly in high school. Like, I know that that's not the point of the story, but it has to be said. Bella made friends almost instantly in her high school, and I don't think that would actually happen in a real life situation. It would take at least a week. Anyway, that's all I gotta say on this. Anyway, that's all I have to say on what I read so far. I just had to get that out. Okay. Catch you in a bit. Bye. Okay, and I am checking in once more before I start getting ready for the day and have to stop reading. I just finished chapter 5, and I'm just addressing I'm just going to address this chapter real quick because I have a couple more things to say about it, and then I'll upload it, and then we'll see where this review goes. Anyway, chapter 5. You've spent the whole... you said that you wanted to be friends with Bella, and that's fine. But then in the same instance, you keep telling her to continue to avoid you. Wait, what was the quote? I wrote it down. Hold on. Oh yeah. He literally said, if you're smart, you'll avoid me. After he's the one who invited her over to she was sitting with her friends. He was the one who invited her over to his lunch table to sit with him. And in the same conversation, he says, if you're smart, you'll avoid me. And literally, why? She was avoiding you. You're the one who keeps bringing yourself into her orbit. And legit, the whole chapter was him again bringing himself into her orbit. She had ended up needing to go to the nurse after class, and she was with the classmate. He was taking her to the nurse. Edward came up, shooed that friend away, and was the one who ended up being the one to take Bella to the office. And he claims to care about her, but in the same sentence, he can tell her to avoid him or leave. And it's like, look, make up your mind. Anyway, yeah, and he took it upon himself. Like she'd gotten past the whole nausea thing and was going to head back to class, and he took it upon himself to sign her up for the day and tell her to go home. And then he stayed at school. He took it upon himself to say that she was too sick to stay at school. And I'm like, excuse me, it's not up to you to tell Bella that she has to be the one to go, that she has to leave school. Like, my God, he seems possessive while also in the same, like, 2 pages telling her that he's bad news. Although I do give Bella credit in that chapter, because she did call him out on that, at least. So she knows that he does that. But she still listens to it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I can't. I'm sorry, Bella, but you can't be this naive. This is a guy. He keeps turning up out of nowhere, and he keeps turning up out of nowhere at random points, brings himself into your orbit, then tells you to leave, then tells you should avoid him, and then just avoids you, and then he comes back in, tells you nothing about himself, but he tells you nothing about himself, but he expects you to open up about yourself, and also just expects you to be okay with it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Bella, but you can't be this dumb. Anyway, that's all I have to say on that chapter. I'll catch you later. Okay, I wasn't expecting to do a chapter-by-chapter update on this thing, but I just finished chapter 6, and we have just met Jacob Black, the other love interest in this very complicated book. In this very complicated woman's life. And just like in the rest of the books, she fake flirted with him and led him on. And it was purely just to find out all of the crap that Edward didn't tell her. Now, yeah, Jacob started it. He was just being nice, talking to her because she came back to town. Her family knew his family before, and the truck that her dad bought was his dad's. But yeah, she spent the whole chapter pretending to be interested in Jacob, just so that she could find out about Edward. And that is what the rest of the book. I mean, why start off any different to how the rest of the relationship between Jacob and Bella goes? Because, yeah, my God, does she... I do generally feel bad for Jacob, not only because I was Team Jacob when I listened to this, because I was in love with Taylor Lautner at like 15, but yeah, I genuinely do feel sorry for Jacob, because he only ever tries to be friendly and nice to Bella, as she both leads him on and treats him like absolute crap. I don't know where Jacob's character goes in this one, or if he doesn't appear back in it until the next book. Yeah, this is the first introduction of the leading on and using Jacob that she does in the rest of the book, of the series. Yeah, the rest of the chapter was legitimately so boring. The whole chapter was like learning about werewolves and vampires, which Jacob was upfront with her about from the start. Like, he was like, he posed it as a scary story, but it was like, you know what? I'm a werewolf, the Cullens are vampires, and we don't get along. And I kind of like that kind of like, just like, fuck it honesty. Even if he sounds crazy and he posed it as a question, at least he was fucking honest with her. I don't know why Edward is being an enigma. If he wanted to stay away from you, you can tell her you're a vampire. She will and she may think you're she may just think you're insane and avoid you anyway. Yeah, I liked that chapter in the sense that I admired I just admired the like flat out brutal honesty from the start. But yeah, that was all I want to say about this chapter because it introduced Jacob and it had to be said. Anyway, bye. Hi. So I've read a couple more chapters of Twilight. I'm now just under 200 pages in. Only just under because that's what chapter break was. And I got some stuff to say. One of the chapters was actually really boring. It was just Bella like researching about vampires. But yeah, there was not much happened in that one. But the chapter I just finished, she hadn't seen Edward at school for a while. Ran into him when he was conveniently in the right place, right time situation. He full admits to have been stalking her the whole way to. Oh, whoops! I just realized I wasn't wearing my microphone. Hold on. Okay. Anyway, yeah, he full admits to stalking Bella, a girl that at this point he has had two, maybe three conversations with. And yeah, you've had maybe like 2-3 conversations with this person, and now they're admitting that they can't stay away from each other. Edward feels like he has to protect her while stalking her. And Bella literally ended the chapter by admitting that she was unconditionally in love with him. Bitch, you've had like 3 conversations with this guy, and he seemed creepy or evasive in all of them. Except for the last one, because at least in the last conversation, he did admit to being a vampire. But still, you've had like maybe 3 conversations total. You've had like maybe 3 conversations total with this guy. And in all of them, he either ignored you, he didn't say much, full on told you to avoid him, or just stalked you and then conveniently came to your rescue. Like, what? And I get that this is meant to be like a fantasy thing, but my God, Bella. You can have some common sense. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Bella and Edward, like Bella's in love with Edward and Edward feels protective of Bella, and they've had maybe 3 conversations together. Wait, that's it. Okay, so I can't remember when my last update was, but I have taken some notes on what I've read so far that I think would be noteworthy. Hold on. Let me bring up my notes on my phone. There it is. Okay, so a lot happened in what I read, but there were also some chapters where nothing happened. So I'm just going to note the stuff that did. They introduced, in the last chapter I just read, they introduced Alice, the only Cullen who didn't objectively ostracize Edward from their family just for wanting to be with Bella, which I don't appreciate, because whether you approve or not, family is family. Anyway, yeah, so Alice was probably my favorite in the movies anyway. Hold on, where did that go? Alright, and we also had another thing that should have raised flags with Bella: breaking into her house to get the key to her truck and then drop it and then leaving it at school for her. I'm sorry, but I would have asked more questions to that. And what I was most disappointed by in what I just read is they cut out one of the better moments from the movie, which is when the school finds out that they're actually dating, and the entrance that they do. I'll insert a clip of it here. Anyway, and now we're at the point where Bella has not told anyone that she's out with Edward. He has taken her to the middle of nowhere. Hasn't told her where they're going. It's like followed his directions out to the middle of a forest. Hadn't told anyone. And it's led us to the famous glistening like diamond scene. Yes, it has come to the point where Edward reveals himself and he glitters in the sun. Wait, what did the line actually describe it as? Hold on. Let me read it. Yeah, so the chapter ended with... Oh, damn it. So the chapter ended with... Oh, no, wait. The chapter starts, but they don't really say much. His skin, white despite the faint flush from yesterday's hunting trip, literally sparkled, like thousands of tiny diamonds were embedded on the surface. He lay perfectly still in the grass, his shirt open over his sculpted, incandescent chest, his scintillating arms bare. His glistening, pale lavender lids were shut, though of course he didn't sleep. A perfect statue carved in some unknown stone, smoothed like marble, glittering like crystal. Like, that description, I know what Edward looks like in the movie, but if I'd read that book first, that's not what I would have seen in my head. Like, anyway, that's all the update I had for now. I'll check back in with you once I've read a bit more. Bye. Okay, so, just gonna put you there. Okay, so I realized that I've only really been in my house for this vlog, so I'm going to take you guys with me while I do some errands. I have some donations for the local charity shop, and then I'm gonna just sit in a cafe and just read more of the book. And I thought, just to get a change of scenery in this vlog, I'll take you with me, because I'll probably do some book shopping when I donate stuff, and I thought I'd take you along for the journey. Anyway, I will catch up with you guys once I drive there because I'm not going to record while I'm driving. That's not very safe. So I will catch up with you guys when I do. Bye. Okay, and so my little adventure is done, and so I got B-roll of myself in there. They moved what the location of the books were, and so that threw me off. But I got quite a few. Not gonna lie. I'll just quickly show you what I got. I'll go into these in more detail when I actually start reading them. Alright, I found The Dry by Jane Harper. I found a book called The House Party by Mary Grand. You Had Me at Hello by Mihari McFarlane. I got a book called The Girl in Times Square by Paulina Simons. I got Heath, A Family's Tale by Jeanette Fife Yauman. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's basically a biography of Heath Ledger's life, which I was intrigued by because I loved Heath Ledger, man. Then I got The Guardian by Nicholas Sparks. I got a graphic novel called The Crossover by Kwame Alexander. I got Nocturnes by John Connolly. I got Disclaimer by Renee Knight. And the last book I got was... Oh, this is cool. It's kind of like a double thing. Wait, let me adjust my... Let me move this so that you can see. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got... This is cool. You got The Stag and Hen Weekend. And then... Yeah. And then on this side, you've got the other story. So it's two books in one. One side's the stag, one side's the hen. And I just thought it was cool. They're double-sided like that. Let me just re-show you the covers now that I've moved the angle with the light. This one has... The cover on this one is actually really cool. And then... Crossover. Oh, shoot. Oops. Oops. You Had Me at Hello. This cover's kind of boring. But... Alright. I'm not going to show you all of the covers. Those were the only really cool ones anyway. Alright, I am going to drive home now, and I'll catch up with you guys. And then when I get home, I'll give you an update on the book I'm actually meant to be reading for this vlog. Alright, peace. Okay, so like I was saying, I read I did get a couple of chapters of this read while I was at the cafe, so my mission was accomplished in that regard. I am enjoying it a lot more now, because now we get the more optimistic, not brooding Edward, and he's actually a lot funnier like that, and it's now the fun stupid I was hoping for. Like, that whole chapter after the Diamonds bit was just the ridiculous, fun, kind of stupid that I appreciated in the book. And yes, he's still at stalker levels, and it should raise red flags. But he's a lot funny. He's a lot more entertaining now, and I'm now up to page 312. So I've got about 100, and so I've got just over 100 pages to go, and the chapter's called The Cullens. So we're finally going to meet the rest of the Cullens. And I liked most of them better, to be honest. I really wish we had a spin-off series with the Cullens, particularly Alice. But I'd take any of them, because I feel like their story was a lot more entertaining or interesting in that regard. Like, I was a lot more interested in the story of like Alice and stuff. But yeah, so I'll read a bit more and then I'll update you once I have more to say. Bye. Okay, so I think I'm going to take a bit of a break from reading Twilight, and I'm going to set myself up to rewatch the movie, because I just want to see if the movie's as fun as I remember. And it'll give my eyes a break from thinking about the book. It'll just give my eyes it'll just give my brain a break. Okay, and I've now finished rewatching the movie. It had some funny moments, but wasn't as funny as I remember. Actually kind of boring. But, yeah. I've also now read a couple more chapters of the book. And the one main note that I made... Hold on, what did it say? Oh yeah, so in the two chapters I just read, we got some of the Cullen family backstory. We got a lot of Carlisle's backstory. I think I was more just a bit annoyed that instead of Carlisle telling the story, Edward is telling Bella Carlisle's story. I just feel like it would have been cooler or better for the story if Carlisle told his own story. And also, I added on my notes that I feel like it could have been a really awesome spin-off series to just have... Oh, wait, what did I write? Yeah, have a spin-off story with the history of how Carlisle found all the members of the Cullen family and how they come together as a family. Like, I feel like that was the perfect setup for a spin-off. But, alas, it wasn't written. But, yeah. I just figured instead of getting, like, the couple of spin-offs we did get, like Life and Death, which is a gender bent one, and Midnight Sun, which was Edward's point of view, I just feel like it could have been cooler to have a prequel kind of story and just have it be the Cullen story. I would have been intrigued by that. Anyway, the book, it is well written and I'm enjoying it, but it's kind of just boring for the most part. Yeah, it's boring for the most part, but I'm enjoying it enough that I will finish it, especially since I'm nearly at the end anyway. I think I'm about to get to the baseball game where like the big climax kicks in, but yeah, I've wanted more out of it so far. Because, yeah, it's not the best. It's definitely not the worst story I've ever read, but there's nothing like fantastic about it either. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Peace. Hi, so it turns out I have COVID. As it was in the last video that most likely went up before this, I was getting sick by the end of it. Yeah, it turns out I have COVID. So now I'm on isolation for the rest of this week, or until it passes. But I will do an update for this vlog anyway, because I have now finished more of Twilight. I'm now at like the climax of the book, and I just had the bit where she had to literally break her dad's heart to keep him safe, and like she could have been more subtle about it, but yeah, just the way that she does that, it's like, oh my god. It breaks my heart every time. But yeah, I'm now almost finished, so this will probably be the last update before I finish it, unless something like proper intense happens. But yeah, so she's just met these other vampires, broken her dad's heart, and she's now on the run with the Cullens to lure them away. And I gotta give it credit, it is a well-written book. It's just some parts are either incredibly boring or just so unbelievably stupid. But yeah, anyway, I will update you guys soon. Okay, I'm adding this bit in to this vlog since I don't really have enough to do a separate video for it. But I just got my book depository delivery of the Tom Felton autobiography thing about him growing up in the world of Harry Potter. It's just plain black, but these in pages, it's like literally photos from the movies or behind the scenes of Felton. And yeah, so I just think this is it's a really cute little book. Oh, they got them on the back too. But yeah, so this was just a quick little insert to show my book mail, because I can't take you anywhere else for this vlog now. So the clips that I gave you of outside, that's all we're getting, because now I'm in isolation for the rest of this week. Alright, later. Okay, and I am in my office/library for one final update, because I have finished the book. Yeah, I finished Twilight. The climax wasn't as like climaxy and page turning as I wanted it to be. Like, it was actually kind of a bit like, yes, some information was in there that was needed, but it felt less anticlimactic in the book than it did in the movie scene. But the end did read quite quickly, and so I finished it within a short period of time. My overall thoughts about the book. I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to. Like, it wasn't anything special, but I definitely didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. And I definitely still prefer Alice and... Wait, what was her name? Damn it, I forget her name. Let me see if I can find it in here. Rosalie. That was... Yeah. I still prefer Alice and Rosalie as characters, rather than Edward and Bella. And I feel like if they ever bring out a new Twilight book, it's about the history of the Cullens, because that would just... Because I don't really know where this story can go, because I know how the story ended. I've already know that. But yeah, I don't really see where they can take the story from there. So it's probably better that... So I don't really see what they can do with that. I feel like a prequel could be fun. But yeah, overall final thoughts. The book was mostly boring was quite boring for the most part, but I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. But yeah, anyway, this has been my journey reading Twilight. I'm glad you guys came along with me, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.